Hold on. Hi. On this episode of By the Wayside, I get to speak with writer and editor Chuck PINEAU. We also talk about what's better, zombies or dinosaurs. Stick around. You're going to want to find out what it is. Just hold on a second. Welcome back to this episode of By the Wayside. Like I had teased in my opening, of course, I always talk to people about how much they love being creative, how much they love doing creative things, and how they kind of everything like train tracks into being creative. It's funny how one can start as, what's the best way to describe it? As a kid of fantasy, and then ends up into a position where they are a writer or an editor for something that is a plethora of fantasy.
Yeah.
With me today, of course, Chuck PINEAU is with me, writer and editor. That was a long introduction, by the way. It took a long time for me to get to that, to get to your name and your title. Chuck, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Dude, so happy to do it.
It's like, I think at one time my brain kind of like the trolley problems is like, do I just get right to the introduction, or do I kind of go on a sidetrack and talk about, fantasy and the love of writing and creating worlds?
You know what though? There's something nice about really talking someone up and get them. So
That's true.
I'll take that.
Anything to make me feel good on a Saturday morning. This is what I'm after. That's exactly what I'm after. Chuck, we're going to get straight into the questions. From novels, comic books, RPG, and prose, you've done it all. Over the years, is there a favorite media that you've come across?
It's funny, like every time you might ask me, I would probably give it different. It's definitely comics, but any other ones, like it's always switching around and you always get excited about that new thing. It's the same even with projects where you come across something, the new one is the way to go. You're so excited. So yeah, it's just, the new thing is always shiny and exciting, but comics I'm always there for that.
One of the really cool things about taking, like, when a writer can see their ideas come to life, I think that's the beauty of a comic book. And I guess in movies it works the same way, because when you're reading a book or doing an RPG, the person reading the words has to imagine. They have to visualize what's being said to them.
Yeah.
But with a comic book for your instance, for a comic book, you have the great ability of having an artist interpret your words and allowing the reader to say, like, hey, this is what Chuck meant.
Yeah.
This is what Chuck wants you to see. I think there is a beauty in how comic books could be the ultimate sort of favorite media for a writer.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, and it's very much about the collaborative spirit of it, being able to send something else out, inspire them, and seeing what that inspiration does. Often when I'm writing a script, I write scripts as a love letter to the artist.
Oh, nice.
So I find, like, because there's only like 5 people involved, I'll often tell people that I'm teaching about and explaining comics to, like, only 5 people are going to read this. So you don't have to be super, like, you're writing it to them. So I always try to make it really personal. Like if I'm writing to a particular artist, and I know usually when I pick an artist, they're good at that particular thing. So I'll just be like, all right, this is what I'm looking for, but man, you know what you're doing. Like, this is the feel I want. Have fun. And if they ever come back and go, I need more, I'll totally give them more. But I love leaving something open, just being like, this is my vision. This is what I see, but I want you to take my vision and just explode it into something awesome.
That's cool.
And so I think it's really about feeling out your team and just getting the best out of them from the get-go as a writer.
Oh, that's interesting, because it's almost like, I'm not a writer, but it's like a team leader. You lay the groundwork and you say this, and then it's I guess an editor is the same way as well. So it works out really well how you have both the titles of writer and editor on multiple projects over the years. Yeah, it's interesting how you can. That's going to cut into a question later on that I don't want to get into it because it's going to wreck my question later on.
Fair enough.
Much of your current work includes either action, horror, monsters, or attractive women, or sometimes all of them.
Yeah.
What's the reason behind that?
Just because I love so many things, so it's great to just be able to dabble and touch so many things. And it's funny because my background, like, the thing I love the very most is fantasy.
Yeah.
I only just wrote my first real fantasy book. I've been writing for like 10 years and in the business for that long. I only just wrote my first fantasy this year. Yeah, like real, like down to earth, fantasy. It was just it's just you want to try new things and play with new things, and it's a lot of fun. I love it.
There's no robots on this list though, Chuck. Action, horror, monsters, and attractive. I didn't see any robots anywhere in some of your work. I'm quite upset by this. Now, when you say your first fantasy, now what's the name of that fantasy?
It's called
Chuck, you wrote it. Come on, dude.
I wrote a lot of things. From Ashes to Iron.
Oh, right on.
And it's based on a property, the company that I work for, Ethereal Publishing. They have this thing called Fallen Leaves, and so it's inside of their world. And when it came to me, they were just like, we're looking for something. They give me a very easy idea. We're looking for something that we want this one character to be introduced in this series, and they got me with, we want fantasy and dwarves. And I was like, buddy, I got you. Like, that is literally my stuff. As a kid growing up, role playing and D&D, doing DMing and stuff.
Yeah.
I love dwarves. So I was like, I'm in. And I went full dwarven on this bad boy. So I just had a blast. And the guy got, when my boss got it, he was just like, oh, dude, this is good. I'm like, oh, thanks, man. This is my stuff. Like, if anyone's going to throw me anywhere. So it's funny that it took 10 years to drag that out of me somehow, but you get excited about other things. You're like, let's see what's up.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now I should have added in the current works fantasy and dwarves. I'm sorry I missed dwarves on the list of all the things that you really like that are part of your stories.
I am absolutely holding this against you.
I would hope so. And if I've done something wrong, you make hold me accountable 1,000%.
Everybody called this dude out. Like, just
everyone knows my feelings on Lord of the Rings. Do you know my feelings on Lord of the Rings?
I do not, but I'm interested in hearing.
It's terrible. The movies are absolutely terrible.
But like the source material, are you a fan?
I've never read it. It's boring.
Okay, fair enough.
Chuck.
I mean, it's like 100 years old. You're all good.
There's no robots in it. That's my problem. Chuck. Your story about how you became an editor is one of luck and creating friendships. It's quite an amazing story. Can you regale me with that story and my audience?
Yeah, for sure. So I was at home, and we just moved into a new place. We were living in Texas at the time, and the cable guy came over to set up the cable, and he saw all of my comic art and stuff on the wall and everything. He started talking about how he had created this world, and he was setting up a whole thing. Started talking about that, and I was just like, well, I mean, I'm a writer. I'm trying to be one. I really enjoy it. And so we just kind of got together and started hanging out at his house and working on his world, and really helped him develop that and everything. And it became a thing where I even wrote that first issue. Mm-hmm. And so we went to Kickstarter, and the first time it didn't, it failed. So, you just, in Kickstarter, you just get back at it again. You see what went wrong and you change it all. We did that. It ended up doing really well. From there, that project just didn't end up working out and things. But by that point, I was just like, I need some other way to get into the business, because at that point I was so excited. And so it just so happened that a buddy, or a guy that I knew on Facebook, he had this website, and he said, oh, I'm looking for editors, and but I'm not willing to pay anything. And it's like, man, exposure, I'm in, like, no problem. I was like the perfect guy for the job, so I jumped on that. And he was like, there's no pay. And I was like, yeah, I know. And I did that job, and we had such a good time doing that, and we developed such a good rapport that by the end of it, he's like, you know what, that was really good. Like, oh, here you go. And he ended up paying me anyways, which again, wasn't expecting. So from there, it just exploded. Like, once I get into something, I just want to go at it. So
what was the name of that project? The Super Mom?
That was the same guy. It's some We Are Monsters or something like that.
Yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, I talked at the beginning of this episode about how the train track, kind of you go one way and then the other way. The career in which you're at right now, it's sort of the same thing. You were going one way, and then it kind of veered off, and then it became like you knew the destination. It's just whether or not, like, this train track was off the rails.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Pat on the back for my own analogy. And then you kind of come up, and then you are where you are today. That's really awesome.
Yeah, it's all about the goal, right? Like I don't care how I get there. I just want to get there. So the real fun is the adventure along the way, you know?
And some great stories, and you met some great people, of course.
Totally. It's been absolutely amazing. Awesome. Even like I know you've interviewed a bunch of cool people, but even in my own podcasting, I've been able to see some really cool people and stuff. It's so much fun, man.
The beauty of being a host of anything that involves creative people is the amount of people that you meet, first of all, and the stories that you get from the creatives that are always, I started here, I wanted to do this, and now I'm here. And it always seems to, I hate to say it, but it always does seem to work out in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, I'm really lucky. I'm really lucky that I get to meet these people and introduce, well, the mandate of the show itself is to introduce the audience to creative people. So I'm really lucky, and that I get to create this community and introduce it to a community that no one really knows about these people sometimes. I always love the messages back. It's just like, oh, I didn't know that person, or I didn't know that they were doing this.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, hey, this is my neighbor. I didn't know that they were also a world famous comic book writer. That's wild. I'm like, Chuck, don't go anywhere. We have lots more right after this little blurb. It's a blurb that's like 2 seconds long.
Sounds good. I can wait that long.
Okay, you wait too. Okay, don't go anywhere.
This is By the Wayside, and we'll be right back.
Such. My toesies are a little coldy. Coolsies. My toesies are coolsies. I'm not a writer again. I'm a poet, though, and I did not understand it. Welcome back. Of course, that 2 seconds was a little bit longer than 2 seconds, but it's okay. Again, you hold something against me. If I say something and it's wrong, just let me know.
I am so angry. Can't you tell?
I was expecting to just walk off, like jump through the window and get out of here. And
it was one of many options.
So long, loser.
It's been real.
That was you yelling at me. I just realized that it was me. It looked like me yelling at you, but no, it was the acting portion of you yelling it back at me. Oh my, Chuck, if you really just want to leave, like I'm so sorry. I'm just a stupid moron.
No, it's good. I'm already here. Might as well.
Chuck, as a writer and an editor, when you're doing both of those combined on a project, how do you creatively connect them?
Yeah, that was one thing for the longest time. Because I was working freelance, I refused to work on my own projects. I was just like, no, somebody else needs to look at it, But now that I'm part of a company, it's just a lot of times easier. Just like, Chuck, you got this one? Yeah, totally. I always make sure that there's someone else to take a look at it. I'm always writing for the audience, and even while going, just thinking, okay, like I'll finish it up, and then you just have that big look back, like, okay, am I hitting everything? You write it first, and then you kind of take that hat off, put the editor's hat back on. You're just like, okay, now let's like take a good look at this. Am I hitting all the things? Like almost treat it like it's a client.
Interesting.
And so you look at it and you go, okay, are these the beats that I wanted to hit? And usually at the top of one of my scripts, you'll find like an outline. I'll have the outline there. So I always, as I'm writing, have that to go and look back to and everything. Okay. I'm really huge on outlines. I explain it to anyone I teach and work with all the time. Outlines are a huge deal, at least to me.
When you are, when you are writing something like a comic book, do you sit down and write, or do you sit down, write, stop, put your editor hat on, go back up and do like the last 6 pages that you wrote, or do you wait till the entire project is done?
No, I say just do it. Like for me, my experience over the years, I've found if you stop and you try to take a look back, there's a good chance you're just going to not pick it up again. Oh, and of course, like when it's a job, you don't have a choice, but still like it makes it that more difficult. So I might stop after, 6 to 10 pages, just give it a quick cursory look and go, okay, is this doing everything I want? Is there anything glaring that I need to worry about moving forward that I should fix now? 9 times out of 10 there isn't. You go on, and then when it's all done, then you put the editor hat on and you go for it.
It seems like I guess it does seem at times that it could be really maybe not confusing, but hard to separate the two, because as you're writing, you go like I really want this to work, but as an editor, I'm like, it's not gonna work.
Yeah. It's easier when you are both, because
Yeah.
you can just be like, yeah, buddy, that's just not going to happen. Like almost that inner dialogue of, dude, we both know you love this, but it's not happening. I usually console myself fairly well. I'm not too rough on myself, fairly forgiving.
Is it like, like when you see cartoonists, like in those old Disney, when they're showing the behind the scenes footage and they're drawing pictures of like Simba, and they draw like the mean face and they look at the mirror and they go this? Are you like that with as editing? You're writing at your computer or your typewriter or whatever your word processor, and you're typing away. And you're going tick tock tick. I'm gonna add a dinosaur to this, and then you go tick tock, and you look at the mirror, and you like your editor mirror, and your editor goes like this. Delete, 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 delete. Vampire. Vampire. Is that how that works? Do you have an editor's mirror?
I don't have an editor's mirror. I do love that idea. That would be a lot of fun. I'm like a head down, just barrel through it kind of guy. So I just make sure that when I sit down, because the most worrying thing when you're writing is having that empty page. So I make sure when I start beforehand, I already have that outline. I always have something to look back to. So really that mirror is kind of the outline. Like what are the beats I want to hit? What are the most important things? And because you're working on a title, you have a very good idea of what's in there and what's supposed to be in there. So I usually just have a blast with that and just go at it.
Awesome. That sounds awesome. When you're writing, how much of your writing includes your own voice? And when I say own voice, I don't mean necessarily putting yourself into the comic book, but I'm talking more about causes that you care about, or charities, or things that mean the most to you.
I mean, definitely, I think it's important for a creative to be able to do that. We all have our own voices, and yeah, a lot of us just want to entertain and excite people and show them really cool worlds, but also you'd like to be able to maybe get them excited about things that matter to you and stuff. So certainly all the time, I also love a good Easter egg. Like just, oh man, when you have the chance. And my favorite is working with artists who see some of the Easter eggs that you put in, and then they're like, when they're drawing, you know what, I'm gonna do this. And there's been some cool stuff where artists surprise you. So I love doing that, and then they love doing it back, and it's a lot of fun, man.
Let's take a quick stop and rewind a little bit, because I want to ask you about Easter eggs, and Easter eggs also can include cameos. I'm a movie guy. I like watching movies, but in the world of movies, do you have a favorite Easter egg of any of the movies? Go like anything you could think of. Do you have I have one in mind that I've always absolutely loved, and it's a cameo. But is there a movie Easter egg that you absolutely like, or you always point out when you're watching it with someone? Really put you on the spot.
Yeah, right. This guy right here, folks. You know what? There's so many good ones. I can't come up with one off the top of my head. So many amazing ones. What's yours?
It's Danny Glover in Maverick when they're robbing the bank. So this is the Mel Gibson movie, Maverick.
Yeah, I love that one.
So when Mel Gibson goes into the bank that's being robbed, there's a man with a neckerchief on his face, and he's like, I'm gonna hold up this bank, and then Mel Gibson goes up and pulls down the handkerchief, and it's Danny Glover. And that's always been my ultimate favorite. I just really enjoyed that one.
Right.
It's the first thing that popped into my head.
I love Deadpool 2 when Brad Pitt, the Vanisher, like literally a split second. And it's funny that it's a split second of screen time, literally a split second, folks. But then like the story behind it and what it turned into, like he did that for them. And then Ryan came in and worked on Bullet Train for Brad Pitt. Yes. So it became a whole thing. I love story behind anything. And that's a really good one for me.
That is a good one. That's a really fun one. I remember in the theaters and everyone was just like, wait, if you blinked, you literally missed the character. Right. But it's like, wait, was that Brad Pitt? Can we rewind this in the movie theater somehow? Yeah, that's always a really fun one. When big name people just show up in movies. You even hear stories now about how Dustin Hoffman was in the background of some movie. I literally just saw this on TikTok somewhere. It's bothering. It was a Nora Ephron film, but he was just driving. He went to the set to say hello, and they said, "Do you want to be in the background?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." So he's literally this Academy Award winning Dustin Hoffman is just in the background of this romantic comedy because he's friends with the director and he doesn't have a line, doesn't say nothing. He's just literally just standing there.
So I'm sure it's so much fun just to be able to be there and just we'll have some fun real quick. I'll walk by, you know.
It's always fun when you hear stories like that, especially when it comes to movies. How friends of friends of friends know this person, and they just happen to be in this one scene.
Yeah.
It's always really fun. I really enjoy that. Chuck, oh man, we're like right at the last question. The last question I didn't tell you about.
This is the gotcha one, folks.
This is the one. Tell me your childhood trauma. No, I'm just kidding.
So, anyways,
my mom, Chuck, you can only pick one of these. That's the best. You don't get to argue it.
Okay.
You just get to, no. Just tell me why it's the best. I'll just say yes. Okay, Chuck. Off the rails. Chuck, robots, zombies, dinosaurs, or 80s Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh. Okay, not saying this just because you love it, but actually robots. I do love a good robot because there's just robots, and then there's so much you can do with robots where like a lot of times like zombie, you feel like you've done it all. Dinosaurs, I've worked with it. 80s stuff, it feels like every writer out there, everything we watch, there's a lot of that, and I lived it. So it's like you see it all the time. For robots, and I'm sure you feel the same way, you just don't see it often enough. And so I do dig me a good robot. I mean, anywhere from super awesome mech battle robots all the way down to like R2-D2 and C-3PO. So,
that's right. You are right about that. With robots, you can do absolutely everything with the robot. Now, I want to kind of take a sidestep again to my own question about this, because we talked about, I gave you a list of 4 things: robots, zombies, dinosaurs, and 80s Saturday morning cartoons. Chuck, let's take it a step further and talk about a robotic dinosaur that has just come back from the dead and is on at 8 o'clock on Saturday mornings.
Okay.
That's it. That's literally the premise.
Okay. So you're asking for like a pitch?
No, I'm just telling you that we can just combine all these terrible things.
Oh,
and
dude,
make something awesome.
That would be freaking. I mean, that's the dream, right? Like, even when I'm writing, I love to grab genres and just let's see how many we can mush together and really make this thing work without it getting messy.
Yes.
I love doing that stuff.
When you see something like, again, movies. You comic book writer, I'm just going straight to movies. But
I mean, we all here to be entertained and love entertaining. So
true.
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Right.
Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. It's just one of those things where you just take genres, you just mash them together.
Yeah.
Even like you can look at giant action movies where the heroic lead kisses the person at the very end. I mean, technically, it's kind of just like a romantic comedy with bullets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Romantic comedy with bullets. That just sounds like a lot of fun.
Don't take that. I'm gonna look at your website, and it's gonna be like the new comic from Chuck PINEAU. Romantic comedy and bullets.
Love and guns.
Chuck, I can't thank you enough for coming to Wayside Comics and Cocktails and talking about your history, how you got to where you are, the things that you love about writing. It's truly awesome to know more about more people. Like I had said, the show itself is about introducing the audience to creative people, and you are one of those creative people, and I can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much, dude.
Awesome.
I really appreciate it.
Don't go anywhere because there's lots left on this episode, and just stay right there. Some people might be asking, Jordan, why are you wearing your winter jacket? Well, it's Canada, and you can never be prepared enough for a winter storm that could happen at any time. I'm Jordan Middlebrook, host of By the Wayside. This is the show that introduces you to creative people, and I can't thank my guest, Chuck PINEAU, enough for coming on the show today, talking about all this really fun things that he does. It's really amazing when people take the time out of their day to come to Wayside Comics and Cocktails and just allow me to introduce them to you. Just amazing creative people, amazing people, just amazing people in general. Social media. If you want to follow the show on social media, I have the social media is all here. There's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's TikTok, there's a website. Follow, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your foes, tell your uncles, tell your aunts, tell your mom, tell your dad. Tell your mom I said hi. Thank you again to everybody that took the time out to participate in this episode, and I'll catch you by the wayside. My brain shut off for a second there. Oh my goodness.